Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Coffey, Market Strategist over at TD Ameritrade for an update on technical levels to watch in the Nasdaq-100. Of course, we'll take a look at the Nasdaq-100 Volatility Index. Alex, it's great to see you as always, and it's been a pretty decent start for the Nasdaq-100, only 2 weeks into the year. But I want to take a look at your first chart here with fresh technical levels to watch since we spoke last week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, we talked about this chart so many times over the past few months, and it's just a simple chart that in many ways keeps on giving, Jill. As we take a look at the NASDAQ-100, we kind of got this set up like a traffic light, something we're all used to looking at for visual cues. On the bottom part, we'll start at the green light this time, as this has been an area. And again, I stress the word area when it comes to technical levels. It doesn't necessarily need to be precise. It can be more of an art at times, but we've marked the 10,500 point mark, which corresponds to the low points that we saw in October of 2022, but it's also marked some recent retest as well. And it just continues to be a level or near that level where buyers continue to come in. What was interesting though, as we came to the end of last year, we actually saw the yellow light, which has sort of been the middle of the range point, marked at the 12,000 point mark, finally kind of step in and play a little bit of resistance of its own. So as we find ourselves between those 2 points, I'm really going to be watching the 12,000 point mark, as it corresponds also with the declining trend line of the NASDAQ-100 over the last year, as a point where that convergence really could be meaningful if we do get a retest in the next few weeks.
Right. And I want to take a look at the NASDAQ-100 heat map as well. It's a really great visual representation of what's performing and underperforming in the index.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The first thing that really sticks out, obviously, is this is going to be market cap weighted, Jill, is you're going to see some of the names that are most meaningful with green colors today, particularly Tesla.
Actually, I'm sorry, Alex, we have your vol queue up. There we go. There's the heat map. Perfect.
Yeah, so taking a look at the heat map, the Tesla is the brightest green. It's one of the biggest boxes on there as well. So a big market cap name, and the brighter the color, the bigger the move. And so because of the market cap weighting calculation aspect of the NASDAQ-100, we need these bigger companies to be doing better for this index to have prolonged outperformance versus some of its other indexes, particularly within the tech space as well. But it's really important, I think, outside of the few names that were pretty bright in color, NVIDIA, Tesla sticking out. But also the other names from Apple to Microsoft, while they're not as bright of color, so the moves aren't as volatile or as big in magnitude, they're still a little bit green, which of course is important. But I think the key takeaway here was, with the exception of the few really bright colors, actually a pretty quiet day. And that kind of continues to be the story of 2023 so far, which has been a lower volatility one, which I think will bring us into the last chart.
Yep, perfect segue. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq-100 Volatility Index here.
Yeah, taking a look at Vol Q, this is looking back over the last 9 months, so same time frame that we were looking at for the NASDAQ-100 candlestick chart. This I just chose to do a line to sort of just illustrate the direction that we've seen things going. And while we've talked about, we've seen a retest of sort of the lower points on our NASDAQ-100 chart. It has not been the same where you've seen retests of the highs in volatility, as they're oftentimes seen as inversely correlated products. And that makes sense. Obviously, associations with uncertainty and fear, of course, lead to higher volatility, and those typically lead to lower prices. But we're actually at the lowest point in volatility we've seen over the last 9 months and over the last 12 months as well. So certainly something to watch as we sort of see that divergence. Lower prices, yet low volatility, as maybe some of these causes for concern are starting to dissipate as we've rounded the turn into the new year.
All right, Alex, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.